So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today, our Thursday morning Zoom call. As always, these calls will always be every Thursday without fail, unless we're doing a live training. And the great news is next week we are live here in the Parkland office. Make sure you mark your calendar. Once again, the training is at 11. We're going to do late lunch with it. And I hope that everybody is in attendance for that. I will be sending out an email with RSVPs only because if we're doing food, I do need a head count. But with that, once again, let's get going with our meeting. As always, these are designed, and with URG, our intent is to help you increase your income, keeping your business consistent, and anything we can do to lower that cost of doing business. Just a little housekeeping. Everyone knows our in-house title company is South Florida Title Associates. We have the most competitive rates in the industry. If you have someone that they're getting a better rate, we will always match their closing fee for them, the settlement fee, and we will beat it actually. So make sure you don't miss that opportunity. Any opportunity we have to save our clients money always makes us look better. As always, you all know that Certified Home Loans is our in-house lender. You should be getting everyone pre-qualified with them. Our rates are definitely better. We don't have any fees on those as well. There's no origination fee, which we're seeing more and more lenders start charging up to 1% of the loan. That potentially is a lot of money you could be saving your clients, besides getting them a better interest rate than what they're getting out there. Just a little reminder too. I know we've talked about condos, and I just want to touch on this real quickly. If you haven't watched my video in the past about the new condo disclosure and how it affects us, please feel free to do so. It is posted. Because right now we are seeing condos of 3 stories or more with this new, that they don't have to get their inspections done till December 31st of 2024. So a lot of them are not. So it is a buyer beware. We do not know what will happen with the inspections. We do not know if there's going to be assessments, not only with the inspection, then they go through a forensic accounting, so to speak, to make sure that they are putting enough aside for reserves. And with that, we don't know until that is done how much maintenance fees may or may not be rising. So if you are working with a buyer, it is always buyer beware. If you are working with a seller, I cannot stress enough how to set their expectations up front. Just so you know, right now, because of, and I believe it's because of this, and so does FAR believe it is, in Palm Beach County, condo sales are down 21%. Broward County, they're down 28.7%, almost 30% in Broward County. And wait till we jump into Miami-Dade because it's 43.8%. That means we are down nearly 50% of condo sales through Miami-Dade. So if you've got a seller that's looking to sell in a building that is 3 or more stories, your expectations need to be set with them. We are no longer getting the top sales, and we are no longer flying off the market. They need to fully understand what is happening and what is happening with buyers. So I just want to touch on that. If you've got any more questions, please make sure you reach out to me after this. I do want to jump into today's topic, which everyone read, is managing conflict. We all face this. This can be a very stressful time for a lot of people. They're not only moving their home, which you know how much of a hassle that is. We've all moved before. Packing, unpacking. Many people, it's uprooting their families. They've got children. They're still working full-time while I'm trying to do this. And once something goes sideways, it tends to get very stressful and emotions flare up. And our job for ours is to keep that at a bay. And one of the things that you can rely on through this is to have clear and concise communication. So this way, once again, just as I said, to set your seller up for expectations when selling a condo, clear and concise communication, and have transparency and honesty. Be very transparent with your clients and keep honest with them. Don't let them think that it's going to fly off the market. We are not seeing that right now. We see interest rates are still way up there. Buyers are waiting. The economy people are worried about. People are worried about an upcoming election next year. So we are seeing that. So I'm going to go through today some recommendations on how to keep all the discussions peaceful and how to move forward with conflict, because we've all faced it. So with our clients, first of all, like I said, it's always preempting the conflict. So make sure that their expectations are very clear. What they expect of you, what your services are, the hours and availability you have for them. For instance, everybody knows, if you sat into my listing presentation class, you know that I set out and give to them exactly what I'm going to do. So there is no question what the expectations of my duties are for them. They have my list of what I will perform for them. I also always, when working with a buyer or seller, I let them know my hours of availability. And if you don't get me, please text me and I'll always get back to you within the hour. It's the same for all of you. If anyone's tried to reach back to me, I always ask text me first and I can usually give a quicker response. But just set those expectations up and it'll help preempt the conflict. Remember, if anyone's listened to all of mine, one of the most important skills in real estate and all of sales is to ask good questions and listen carefully for the answers. That is what selling is. It's asking questions and listening for the answers. Because with this, you're going to understand a little bit more of what your client really needs. So you're going to preempt that conflict. Your duty as a realtor is to work in the best interest of your clients. And this includes knowing the market conditions, making sure they're aware of how you get paid. Don't ask them here, just sign the listing agreement. Make sure they are aware of the compensation. Make sure a buyer is fully aware the seller is the one compensating me. Explain to them exactly how an open house works. Explain to the seller how it'll be. Explain to your buyer when you're going out there. Explain to the buyer what it's like when we're viewing property. Set the expectations up front and it'll help you preempt conflict. Now, even though we set all the expectations, we know it's going to happen. My biggest advice to anybody is do not ignore it. Do not ignore when we have an issue. They only grow within time and snowball. If something is going wrong with the transaction, we need to address it. And my full suggestion to you is to pick up the phone, to have a conversation when you start to feel conflict arriving, be it text or email. If anyone has ever sent a text that's been taken out of context, I have, to even family members, it's been taken out of context. So picking up the phone, don't send a text letting them know the appraisal came in low. This is a conversation you need to have with your buyers or your sellers for that matter. But hopefully you set them up for the expectation that there's always a chance. When you had this conversation with the seller, we can get to contract at this, but my comps aren't going to support it. We can offer them full price, but if it comes in lower, they may expect us to come up. These are conversations that would have preempted the conflict. With that, my other suggestion is, as they're showing their frustrations and concerns, it's very important that you acknowledge how they are, their concerns and their frustrations. Do not let them get swept under the carpet. What you need to do is sit down and think, how can we fix this? Should we revisit our expectations? Maybe they're frustrated that you're not picking up the call or you're not available the minute they say, let's go see a property. Revisit your expectations, document your decisions that you make, and ensure everybody has a mutual understanding. Like I said, I give a clear outline of what I will perform and my hours of availability. So this way I'm not doing that. The next is to manage the emotions. I think we've all been on the phone with a buyer or seller raises their voice at us, or maybe sitting there. My way I handle that personally is I will not be shouted at. I will not be screamed at. I don't expect it from my children, my boyfriend, anybody. I just don't tolerate that in my life. I have many a times said to a buyer or seller, I hear you are extremely frustrated and upset right now, and I do want to address all your concerns. However, I'm going to call you back in 30 minutes or an hour when everybody is calmer and we can have a discussion to find the solution. The worst thing you can do is match their behavior, start raising your voice and yelling at them or anything. And through it all, remember, you are a professional. Stay composed. Don't let them get you more upset or let you respond in any way. Maybe this will also buy you time to figure out a solution. I don't know right there when someone's screaming at me how always to respond. So my best way is I'm going to call you in 30 minutes. Let's all calm down, take a deep breath, and I'll call you back. It gives me an opportunity to find a solution and offer A, B, and sometimes C to them. And next is moving past the conflict. Sometimes it's just getting to the real root of the issue. Often there are solutions, and sometimes there's just not solutions. Sometimes they have unrealistic expectations. Sometimes you have to know when to fire your client. I know this is not what people want to do. We've worked with them for months. But I will give you a couple examples. One, I had a seller who, it was right here in Regency Lakes. He was very tough from the time I walked in. He was referred to me. He constantly spoke down to me. I noted that he also spoke down to his wife on several occasions. He constantly was calling, upsetting me. I think I got to the real root of the issue. He doesn't put women in a high value of respect. He does not, he just didn't. I saw the way he talked to his wife. It wasn't me. He just didn't value women's opinions. He was very old school. It was in my best interest to hand him his listing back. Did I throw away the commission? Some people may say I have. Did I save myself sanity? Because it wasn't going to be an easy road if the first 2 weeks started off like that. I also had an agent that used to put the word crazy in front of his client's name. Once you start doing that, that's a clue indicator that you should be firing them. I've had somebody tell me that they were running around every Saturday showing property after property after property, and they weren't happy because the walls were blue or the carpet, and it was things that could easily be changed. At this point, it may be best not to give up 4 hours every Saturday to somebody that maybe is just really not ready to buy. They didn't have that motivation. If you run into this and we have these problems and you can't move past it and you want to fire your client, that's okay, unless we have the listing side of it. If we have the listing side, you need to call me first because it's up to us whether or not we are going to release them. Then also with a buyer, I also suggest that you call me first because sometimes I can either save the relationship and at least get you a referral fee, assign them to another agent in the office, get you a referral fee so you haven't wasted the time and you still get compensated a little bit for the time and energy that you did put in. So always check with me first. But once again, on the listing, it's whether we release them or not. But if they're that stubborn, we just may do it. Now, it's not always just our buyers and sellers that we have conflict with. Sometimes it's our co-op agent. A lot of times it's the co-op agents. But once again, how do we go through all these exact steps and deal with the conflict of a co-op agent? I know I've had some really difficult agents out there. I'm in the middle of a transaction with one that called me screaming. But the first is to preempt the conflict. Try to avoid it at all costs. One is to keep the relationship as professional as you can. Keep the communication transparent and flowing throughout it. Be honest and communicate with them efficiently. Make sure things are in writing, not just assumed. This is also the conflict with agents comes along if you don't have great contract knowledge because they're putting in clauses that you may not understand or you may not be sure. And remember, the golden rule is to treat people how you expect to be treated. It is your reputation out there. I know a couple of agents that they're just not nice to other agents. They don't come off nice. Maybe it's a little ego getting in the way. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's something going on in their personal life, but it does get to the point that their reputation gets tarnished. People don't want to work with them. They won't show that agent's listings because they don't want to go to contract. And you never want to be in that position. And once again, confronting the conflict. Everything still applies what I just said, whether it's a client or not. Do not wait. Things always just snowball. Pick up the phone. I know we are in a digital age where it's so much easier to send a text, but it's a lot more effective communication by picking up and having an actual conversation with someone. Remember to always stay calm, collective, and be as professional as you can. As I just mentioned, I'm in the middle of one. She called me. She was screaming left and right. She didn't understand all the contract law. And once again, the best way I did with her was to remind her, I'm going to call you back in an hour and then we'll have a conversation because I don't tolerate this screaming. And if you're just going to scream down the phone, I need you to calm down just a little bit. And this is all about managing those emotions. Remember, don't match that other agent just because they start getting very egotistical with you doesn't mean we need to do it back. We are both parties are just trying to serve their clients in the best way that they know how. So remember, that's where a lot of our conflicts arrives. I want what's best for my seller, you want what's best for your buyer, and we're bumping heads. But don't let your ego get in the way. I had a realtor once on the other end, and the verbiage in the contract read, buyer will pay X amount over appraised value. The agent did not put in not to exceed purchase price. So by law, it just said that the buyer's paying $20,000 over the appraised value. Well, that agent got on the phone with me instantly, lets her ego get in the way with me, starts screaming at me, do you know how many houses I sell a year? Do you know who I am? I'm right, you're wrong. We had to get an attorney on the phone because I advised her, get your attorney who you work with at your closing company and have him indicate what this truly means. Because that was my solution other than letting her continue to yell at me. And remember, we don't have to like each other through the transaction. We just have to be professional. But in a move past it, you have to remember, we are all on the same team. All we want to do is get to a closing table and do what's best for our buyers and our sellers. We are not the Yankees and the Red Sox out there. This is not the World Series or the playoffs. We are all striving. We are all on the same team, looking for one goal in the end, a closing for both buyer and seller. So to move past the conflict, sometimes remind them that. Remind the agent, listen, we all want the same goal. We all want to get closing and we want what's best for our clients. What can we do to work together to get to this point and achieve what is best for my buyer, your seller, or my seller and your buyer? And if you still can't do this with agents, because I know some of them out there can be very difficult. And sometimes once you start bumping heads, it's not easy. That's when you call me. I'm very happy to continue the transaction communicating for you so we don't have any more blowups. To avoid all conflict would be great. But in reality, it happens and it happens every day. You have buyers that can be very emotional. You have sellers that are emotional. I had an agent recently reach out to me. The seller just didn't want to believe what was happening. So sometimes me making a phone call, being a non-biased third party, jumping in, calms everybody down. And just so you know, I don't see problems. I only see solutions. And when it comes to you contacting me to help out with any of these conflicts, I'm not going to do the he said, she said. All I want is the facts. What does the contract read? What do we need to do? And then how can we get a solution? Usually it's A or B. And usually it's abide by the contract rules or walk away from it. And I flat out let them know you have, this is choice A, choice B. Sometimes there's a choice C thrown in, but it's usually clean cut A or B. And I won't play party to either side. I'm a non-biased third party coming in. And if we still can't find a resolution like this, then we go outside. And obviously we need to find resolutions with mediators. But hopefully either you can resolve it yourself or I can help resolve it if not. So remember, always, I'm on your side. If you have any issues with your buyers or sellers or another co-op agent, please reach out to me. I hope this does help you because I know I've been there many a times with buyers, sellers, and also co-op agents. Setting expectations is key, and I'm going to give you one more example before I end our call. I went up for an inspection. I represented the buyer. The seller, the listing agent did not set the seller up. It was his mother's home that he was selling. What the inspection entails and how invasive it is that we go through. We have to get into the attic, move furniture to get to outlets, run every appliance. Well, the man representing the seller never sold a property, was unaware of this, never bought a property, got very upset, ended up swinging at my inspector. It was the worst case scenario, but he did not set the expectations. If she had explained to him full, all of it could have been voided, including my inspector getting punched in the face. So it could have been avoided. So with that being said, I do hope, once again, all these tips helped you out with conflict. It's out there right now. It's very stressful for people, buyers especially, trying to find property with these inflated interest rates. So with that being said, do not forget, next Thursday, 11 a.m. sharp, we are going to be in the Parkland office. We're going to be doing a live training, and I hope you can attend. I'm going to send out an email. If you are with a different office, you can always reach out to me. You have my contact information to RSVP. I invite everybody to join in. We are really going to talk about ways of generating more leads, organic leads yourself, not buying them, companies that you flip on the that you pay only on the flip side, not upfront fees, because I'm not about buying leads upfront. So we're really going to show you how to keep generating more leads, more business, which is going to close you more transactions and earn you more commissions. Just a reminder to everybody, we are looking to always grow our office. If you know an agent that would be great for our team, please reach out and give me their contact information. I am happy to have them join. We all should be working together. By having that, it's going to help us get to our number one in sales, which is our bragging rights for you to our client, to your clients, that you can say, yes, United Realty Group is number one in sales for this year. If you have any questions, concerns, or conundrums, please feel free to reach out to me after this call. If you need any help with title, Carol Wynn is sitting in our Parkland office. If you need anybody pre-qualified for certified home loans, reach out to me. We will get them qualified. You can reach out to me directly. And with that, I want to thank everybody for joining me. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next Thursday live in the office at 11 a.m. And go out there and go make it a great day.